I might not be able to read the stats. We'll see.
Okay, it's hey everybody, welcome to He Said, She Said, They Said. This is Andrew Plank, and we've got Jane Johnston here today. I'm a co-host.
You need to
I'm gonna
take off
just,
the banner there, buddy.
yes, I'm changing it up. Here we are.
Hey, everybody, I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Comoson. I am on site at WKRP here in North Saanich.
Not Cincinnati.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a good week. Happy Halloween to you. I didn't get a lot of chance to wear my costume, so I'm wearing it today.
Awesome.
Nobody really knows what I was wearing unless you've watched. You're a Netflix watcher, but that's okay.
So we wrote an offer on the weekend. We didn't happen to have it was actually at the end of the week. We didn't have any multiple offers. So I'm here at a septic inspection.
Lucky
And
you.
so I thought today what I do is to show you what's involved in a septic inspection. But shall we do the stats first?
Let's do the stats. Let's talk about what septic is in itself, and then we'll get into inspections and pros and cons. And you're so lucky to be able to get an offer in with those conditions. Okay, let me just pull up the stats. I'm going to do a share screen here. One moment. Already forgetting how to do these things that I was just doing. Oops. All right, here we are. Stats. Do you want to take it away there, Jane? Can you read this?
We'll see. Okay, yeah. So this is for the whole month of October because we're November 1st today. So net unconditional sales in October 2021 were 745. That's compared to 990 last year. New listings are at 866. That's compared to 1,162 last year. And active listings are still below 1,100 at 1036. And that's half of what we had last year. Do you want to do the second part?
Yeah, the next part is just the last 7 days. I didn't do the full month, but the last 7 days we've had 343 new listings come on to the Greater Victoria MLS system, with 369 properties going pending. So more going pending than are listing. So that's the trend we've been seeing. Why we're seeing this active listings number keep going down. 53 price decreases and 7 price increases, with 6 back on market. 83 expired. That's usually expiring around the end of the month. People tend to, for some reason, expire them on round figures. I've lost Jane. There's Jane.
I'm back.
Excellent, Jane. Okay. So let's stop screen share there and let's talk about septic. What is septic?
Somebody's trying to call me. They don't realize the importance of the show.
Of what we're doing. No. Totally understand.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You take your phone call. I'll talk about septic. I mean, with properties, when they're connected to a lot of properties in more urban areas are going to be connected to the sewer lines that then the municipality is responsible for, and that goes off to various treatment plants, or it used to go out into the oceans here. But if you're not connected, if you don't have a community that has connections to sewer, you're going to need to either get into a group sewage treatment plant shared, or you're going to build a sewage treatment system, a septic system, which it looks like Jane wants back in. Let's see if I can get her back in.
Hello again.
Yeah, there you are. How was the phone call?
I didn't take it.
Okay.
You're more important.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can either have your home generally on the sewage system, or on a shared treatment plant if you're in sort of a community that's sharing the treatment plant, or you're on a septic system. Septic system is multi-staged. It has essentially a big receptacle for all the effluent coming out of the house, and then it sort of drains some of it. The heart. Well, you know what, Jane, you're talking to somebody there, right? They're going to go through all of that.
Well, it turns out that they're not comfortable, but I will go through what they said. So first of all, I'm just going to show you here So we have two systems. The first is the primary tank, and this has all the sludge that comes from the house, and then all the water goes to the other side. The water then goes to a distribution box, which I'll walk you through too.
Yeah, a lot of people don't, who aren't familiar with septic are not comfortable with it. They are not too sure if it's a great system or not. If well cared for, septic is um, very good system for treating your water in your home, your effluent in your home. But you do have to be careful that you don't send things down your toilet or that could plug it and cause damage to those pipes. And that's why you get an inspection.
Yeah, so it's very ecologically sustainable, and this system looks pretty good actually. I'll just explain where I'm at now. So this is the distribution box, and in the distribution box here, can you see it?
Yeah,
There are pipes that come off of the distribution box, so it comes out of the system here. I don't know what you can see because I
it's
can't
jumping
see
around a
the.
bit.
Okay, so basically, it comes out of a big tube into a box. It hits a concrete block in the middle, and then what that does is it distributes it to 4 or 5 lines. And what we're doing is we're looking to see a few things. One is what the crust looks like coming out of the tank, how thick it is, what the sludge looks like on the bottom, and that determines the health of the system itself and whether or not it's working biologically. And then when we come to the distribution box here, we're looking at each of the lines, and we're trying to see how dry the lines are, whether or not the water is flowing through the rocks into the ground. And we're also looking to see whether one line is more affected other than the other line. So that
So,
tells us if the water's being distributed evenly.
so if one line is plugged because there's been something that's been flushed down the toilet that perhaps shouldn't have, something that's inorganic and and plugs the line, then that line will go dry, and the other lines will have to take up more of the slack, and then the system isn't quite able to drain as well because there's
Well,
more demand on the other lines.
what he said was that you basically fail line by line. So where you're getting the most activity is where you're going to see the first fail, and then the system will take it to the next one. But I think I've also seen systems where um, there may be a method of actually shifting the water around the distribution line, so it does. Um, it allows lines to process. And what was interesting about this is you can see grass growing up in some of the lines, and you can also see sludge in some of the lines. And so the sludge
Yeah,
is from worms coming in, and basically every time uh, they're flushed out, they're kind of building up a bit of refuse. So they literally dump in the lines themselves.
I
So you get
see. Okay.
so you get a buildup of sand. But the other thing is the field itself. So you can see there's lines in the field right there, and these are the septic lines. And in the summer, you may see them. If there's more green over those lines or less green, that is showing you how the field is actually working. So
You
whether
really
or not.
shouldn't be. Really shouldn't be. They say there's that saying, the grass is always greener over the septic field, but you really shouldn't be seeing that because in a really well working septic system that's percolating well, where the water's just going down, you're going to find that it should just go down into the sand or into the ground below
Yeah.
without really coming up. So when you can see those lines, it's not usually a good sign. I'm going to take a step back. You mentioned it's a two-stage system. So the first stage is everything comes out of the house, goes into the tank. The solids fall to the bottom, or I guess, and then there's a crust on top. And then sort of in the middle tends to be the liquid, which is where the lines, the water, the liquid runs to that distribution box, which then distributes to the various lines that are in the field.
Yeah.
And so the idea of a septic field is it's a live system. There is actually bacteria growing in that septic tank. It's kind of like digesting everything in there. And in a working system, you can use it for a number of years. They want you to, I believe, every 5 years, the CRD wants you to be having that pumped at minimum. But you can let that go for up to 5 years without having to pump it, because everything kind of does digest, and it's a live working system, and all the liquids get pulled out. So then once every 5 years or so, you have a truck come in and pull out the solids that have accumulated.
And it's about $500 to do that.
Yeah, and if you're on sewer, you do pay through your taxes for the sewer. So septic field is, and sometimes can be cheaper. The problem with some septic fields is technology has moved along, requirements have moved along. An older septic field could be, the tank could be cracked. There could be problems with the lines. Could need some maintenance and updating. So they do need to be looked after.
And how they check that is they look at how much volume is in the tank, and if it's been 5 years and you don't have a lot of water in your tank, then obviously there's a crack. And as I said, if you have too much crust or too much sludge, so they're looking at the balance between the system. And so, just so you know, if you have a septic system, it's like using your regular sewer system, but you're not going to put things like what's it called, Drano down.
Yeah, no, nothing that'll kill the biology in the system, and no inorganics like feminine products and so forth.
And you also don't use a carburetor with a system like this, because you have to put things that have gone through your system in here.
Right.
No feminine products.
Yes, nothing that can't be broken down easily by the bacteria in the system. So it's, and it sounds really gross when we're talking about septic, and Jane was taking her camera and sort of showing down that stuff, but I've been on a number of septic inspections myself, and generally a good working system doesn't really smell, not like you would expect. It's not what you'd expect. It's a functioning system. It's a live system on your property.
Well, it will smell if it's not working.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and it'll smell if you have the tank wide open.
Another good hint as to, if you're looking at a rural property and you're out in the backyard wandering around, you're going, what's that smell? That's not what it should be. You shouldn't be having that experience.
No, because by the time you get here, it's just going to be water.
Yes. It's a filtration system. So the other consideration is that, if a septic field fails, then rebuilding that field could be very, very expensive. So you do want to make sure it's been well cared for. You do want to make sure you care for it yourself when you buy it. But replacing or repairing a septic system, especially, there's a lot of requirements today. There's the folks in the background doing some work, especially doing the work today is very expensive to keep it up to modern standards.
So, well, it depends on what kind of a system, like how large your lot is, whether or not you have room for the fields. If you don't, then you may have to put in a treatment plant, and that's more expensive. In our septic system that we installed, we had installed before we moved in 2012. They have an aerator so that it ensures it's more effective, the biology of it.
Yeah.
And then there are some systems where you would not have any field whatsoever, and you're just pumping it every year. So you have a holding tank. It's processing the waste, and the water is just gathering.
You need a big tank.
Yeah. Well, I think it's actually more the water is distributed, but the tank is pumped every year.
I see.
Yeah.
Haven't seen that one. So now, you're looking at a rural property and you're talking to your realtor, and it's on septic. Maybe you don't like septic. maybe there's sewer at the lot line. So these are things you might want to look into. Connecting to the sewer may actually even be required by the municipality. Langford's been requiring anyone who has septic at their lot line to connect.
Yeah. Okay, I've got to go, Andrew, because I have to
Okay.
get back to the inspection. So thanks everybody for joining us. I hope it was informative. And if you have any questions, you can give me a call at 250-744-0775. You can reach me at briarhillgroup.com or at vancouverislandtime.com. Okay, and I trust you'll take it away.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jane. For those who didn't hear her phone number, it's 250-474-0775. Sorry to interrupt you there, Jane.
744.
744. Oh my God. 250-744-0775 to call Jane Johnston of the Briar Hill Group. Jane, I hope the inspection goes well.
Thanks. See you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks. Okay, so without my counterpart, I'm going to wrap this up as well. But thanks to everyone for watching. This was probably not a really very clear explanation of septic, but if you're thinking of a rural property, there are a number of things to consider, including well water, septic, the rules of the area. There's much to consider, so getting proper inspections is vital. If you're considering one of these properties in this environment where it's very competitive and you're considering an offer for a property that may not include a condition for an inspection on financing or an inspection on a septic field or an inspection on on your well water, then you need to understand that there's great risks and potentially great costs, and some things may not be able to be remedied. So definitely take that into consideration when looking at rural properties. Anyway, everyone, thanks very much. We will see you next week, and we'll have a topic at that point to announce. Cheers, everybody. Bye now.